Imagine this. It's late at night, and you're lying in bed, scrolling through your phone, promising yourself that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow, you'll wake up early. Tomorrow, you'll finally start working on your goals. Tomorrow, you won't let distractions, temptations, and laziness win. But then, tomorrow comes, and nothing changes. The alarm rings, you hit snooze. The work piles up, but you find yourself lost in mindless scrolling again. The frustration builds. Why can't you just be disciplined? Why can't you follow through on what you promised yourself? But what if discipline wasn't about willpower? What if it wasn't about forcing yourself to do things you hate? What if you've been thinking about it all wrong? Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable, while others struggle to even take the first step? What separates those who achieve their dreams from those who endlessly procrastinate? What if the secret to self-discipline had nothing to do with motivation, but everything to do with something much deeper? Something that you can master. And most importantly, what if you could train yourself to be disciplined in a way that feels natural, effortless, and even empowering? Sheldon Howe's How to Be Disciplined is not just a book about forcing yourself to work harder. It's a guide to reprogramming your mind, breaking free from self-sabotage, and unlocking a level of discipline you never thought possible. It's about understanding why you resist change, why you break promises to yourself, and how you can finally take control, not just for a day or a week, but for life. So let's dive in. At the heart of discipline is one simple truth. You don't act according to your goals. You act according to your identity. Think about that for a moment. If you see yourself as someone who tries to be disciplined, you will always be trying, never becoming. But if you begin to see yourself as someone who is disciplined, as someone who follows through, as someone who gets things done, your actions will naturally align with that identity. The problem is, most of us are trapped in a cycle of failure. We make promises we don't keep. We set goals that we don't follow through on. And every time we do this, we reinforce an identity of inconsistency. I'm just not disciplined. I always procrastinate. I can never stick to anything. And with every thought, every excuse, every failure, we build a self-image that sabotages us before we even begin. But what if you could break that cycle? What if, instead of telling yourself that you should be disciplined, you started telling yourself that you are disciplined? What if, instead of focusing on the end goal, you focused on becoming the type of person who naturally takes action? Sheldon Howe explains that discipline isn't about massive changes. It's about small, repeated actions that slowly rewire your brain. The truth is, discipline is not something you're born with. It's something you build. And the way you build it is by creating a system that removes friction, eliminates excuses, and makes taking action the default, not the exception. Let's take a simple example. Imagine you want to start exercising every morning. Right now, it feels impossible. Every time you wake up, your mind fights you. It's too cold. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. And so you don't do it. But what if you change the system? What if, instead of relying on willpower, you made it easier to take action? You could sleep in your workout clothes. You could put your shoes right next to your bed. You could set up a playlist that automatically starts playing when your alarm goes off. You could make the first step so small that it feels ridiculous to skip, like doing just one push-up. By doing this, you're not forcing yourself to be disciplined. You're making discipline the natural choice. And over time, those small actions compound. One push-up becomes 10. 10 becomes 20. Eventually, working out isn't something you have to force yourself to do. It's just who you are. This principle applies to everything. Want to read more? Leave a book on your pillow so you see it before bed. Want to stop wasting time on social media? Delete the apps or use a screen blocker. Want to eat healthier? Make junk food harder to access and keep healthy snacks within reach. The mistake most people make is thinking that discipline is about suffering. But true discipline is about removing resistance. It's about setting up your life so that the easiest choice is the right one. But what about those moments when you do fail? What about those days when you don't follow through? This is where most people give up. They think discipline is all or nothing. They say, I skipped a workout, so I've failed. I ate junk food, so my diet is ruined. I didn't wake up early, so I'm a lost cause. But Sheldon Howe makes one thing clear. Failure is not the opposite of discipline, it's part of it. The key is not to be perfect. The key is to never let one failure turn into two. Think of it like a plane flying from one city to another. If the plane drifts off course, the pilot doesn't say, well, we're off track, so let's just crash. No, they adjust. They course correct. That's what you have to do. When you mess up, don't waste time feeling guilty. Just get back on track as fast as possible. The most disciplined people in the world aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who fail and keep going anyway. But here's the final, most powerful truth about discipline. It's not about punishment. It's about freedom. Most people think discipline is about restriction. They think it means forcing yourself to do things you hate. But real discipline is the opposite. Real discipline gives you control over your life. It allows you to create the future you actually want. Imagine waking up every morning knowing that you can trust yourself. Imagine setting a goal and knowing, deep down, that you will follow through. Imagine breaking free from the cycle of procrastination and regret. That is what true discipline gives you. Not suffering, not deprivation, but power. So the question is, what kind of person do you want to be? Because at the end of the day, discipline isn't something you have. It's something you become. If you like this summary, consider subscribing to our channel. Your support gives us the motivation to keep creating more engaging content.